Hi everyone. I'm going to do something slightly different today, and that is to read to you a section from this book. This is David Whyte's book, Consolations, the Solace, Nourishment, and Underlying Meaning of Everyday Words. And the word that I have chosen to read today is the word crisis. All around, we've been told that we're in a crisis, and I guess that's true, but in order to help us through, we need to have a good idea of what it means to say that we're in crisis. And I really respect David Whyte. I respect what he has to say on this topic, and I thought that I would share it with you. And so I'm going to read a very short passage from this book, and I hope that you find it useful. Crisis, he says, is unavoidable. Every human life seems to be drawn eventually, as if by some unspoken parallel, some tidal flow or underground magnetic field, toward the raw, dynamic essentials of its existence, as if everything up to that point had been a preparation for a meeting, for a confrontation in elemental form with our essential flaw, and with what an individual could until then only receive stepped down, interpreted, or diluted. This experience of absolute contact with an essential dynamic hidden, now understood to be essential to our lives, often ignored, but now making itself felt, where the touchable rawness of life becomes part of the fabric of the everyday, and a robust, luminous vulnerability becomes shot through with the necessary, imminent, and inevitable prospect of loss, has been described for centuries as the dark night of the soul. La noche oscura del alma. But perhaps this dark night could be more accurately described as the meeting of two immense storm fronts, the squally vulnerable edge between what overwhelms human beings from the inside and what overpowers them from the outside. The waveform that overwhelms a maturing human being from the inside is the inescapable nature of their own flaws and weaknesses, their self-deceptions and their attempts to create false names and stories to place themselves in the world, the felt need to control the narrative of the story around them with no regard to outside revelation. The immense wave on the outside is the invitation to give that self up, to be borne off by the wave and renamed, revealed, and reordered by the powerful flow. Walking the pilgrim edge between the two, holding them together, is the hardest place to stay, to breathe of both and make a world of both, and to be active in their exchange, aware of our need to be needed, our wish to be seen, our constant need for help and succor, but inhabiting a world of luminosity and intensity, subject to the wind and the weather, surrounded by the music of existence, able to be found by the living world, and with a wild, self-forgetful ability to respond to its call when needed. A rehearsal, in fact, for the act of dying, a place where inside and outside can reverse and flow with no fixed form. David Whyte is a philosopher and a poet and a meditator, and I think that what he has to say is incredibly valuable in our current climate. I particularly like what he has to say about the nature of control. It's very natural for us to feel at a loss because circumstances are beyond our ability to control them. Everything that's happening around us today, we just cannot control. And that puts us at a very high degree of unease. And if we add to that the fact that everything is very uncertain, we are likely to find ourselves in a very stressful, anxious situation. What I would like to share with you is there is a solace to be had in giving up control, in realizing that you absolutely can't control what's going on around you. So there's no need to try. There's a real comfort in knowing that you are not in control. You may as well just fall back, right? And to the best of your ability, look after yourself and the people you love. But just know that there's a lot that you just can't do. I'd encourage you to contemplate that, right? At this point, it's quite clear sometimes what the difference is between what we can control and what we can't control. And we just have to be able to accept the things that we can't control. And in this sense, what David Whyte here is saying touches on the Stoic philosophy. In any case, I hope that this short reading is useful to you. I would strongly encourage you to have a look for this book. Perhaps you can pick it up from Amazon or from the library. I'll actually put a link to it on the Amazon store in the notes below. I'm also going to link to 2 important podcasts that I've listened to recently, considering the current pandemic, that are both given from a very reasonable point of view. I would encourage you to listen to them too. For those of you who are students of mine, particularly in scientific literacy, you can take this opportunity to make note of the terms risk, selectivity, sensitivity, false positive, false negative, prediction, modeling. Those sorts of things come up in the discussions that are in the podcasts. Please do make mental note of them when they arise. I thank you all for listening and for watching, and stay safe, and take comfort in knowing that there are things you just cannot control. I know it's hard to let go sometimes, but I think this pandemic will be a great teacher of our ability to let go. Keep well, everybody. Until next time, bye.